meeting. This is the agenda list that we got from our document that are proposed by all the TSC members and other community members. The first item we have is for our technical charter or TSC charter review. The second is from Annie. She's working on the advisory board. She has a proposal and she wants to get approved. The third one is also from Annie and the report about the outreach and marketing plan. Last one from Sanil. Sanil has some, I think he has some item want to discuss about how we operate the meeting, operate the project. But he just sent me a message. He has some problem with network. So we have moved this item as the last one. See if he can join in the last part of the meeting. Before we jump into all these agenda items, I want to quickly go through two things. First, about our release, and the second is about the TSC report. Moni, if you don't mind, can I share for several minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
I already sent out the email, but just in case you didn't have time to read it, I will use a couple minutes to go through this. First is we have a report called TSC on the Centaurus infra organization. And this report is kind of the one-stop website that contains everything regarding the TSC. It has a simple description of the TSC, current members, and all the links, like to our meeting links, to our meeting agenda minutes, mailing list, everything here. So the purpose of this report is that we want to make this, we want the TSC operating transparent and open and easily accessible. We want to make sure everything is easily accessible. If you have any other information you want to put here, feel free to file an issue or file a PR here. The second one
is this public repo?
Yes, it's a public repo. It's Centaurus itself now on GitHub is an organization. You can see we have.
Do we feel comfortable putting the Zoom information in the public repo?
I'm sorry.
I mean, do we feel comfortable putting public, putting Zoom information into the public repo?
I think this meeting is open to public, but only TSC members can vote. So as lots of other operating, lots of other open source community will operate.
Okay.
I put everything.
Just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page here.
Yeah. Just to make clear, this meeting, all the community members or even people not in this community can join, but of course only the TSC members can vote.
Okay.
And so TSC along with other projects, sub-projects are all the repos under this organization. Everything public here. The second one I want to quickly mention is this month we just released 0.7 for both Arctos and Mesa. If you are interested in the details of the new features in these two releases, feel free to check out our website and the blog section. We had 2 blogs just published. So this is covers all the new features in the Arctos and Mesa new release. These are the 2 things that I just want to briefly go through. I sent a mail to the Google groups, but just in case you didn't have time to read through the details, so I want to make sure everybody is aware of this. If there are no other questions, we will start going through the agenda items. Okay, the first one is about the technical charter. As we discussed in last TSC meeting, as a committee or committee, we need to establish the minimal rules on how we operate, how we how to vote, what's the responsibility, etc. We are trying to make the process as lightweight as possible. And this is a standard form technical charter we got from Linux Foundation. And it has been reviewed by the legal team in the Linux Foundation. Previously, I have sent out the link to the draft to everybody. I haven't seen any comments here. Today, I just want to quickly go through this. Just because of time reason, we wanted to do it line by line. Nobody want to do that, right? I just want to go through several key parts, make sure we are all on the same page for these key parts. And if there are no further comments, we will have a vote to see if the TSC is okay with adopting this as our official technical charter. So here are several key parts in this document. The first is about the let me follow by the sequence. Okay. First is the TSC members. Usually, as a Linux Foundation projects, the TSC members are initially the project committers. But because we haven't officially approved any committers, the initial TSC members are appointed by all the member organizations. It's okay. This document specifies that TSC may choose an alternative approach for determining the voting members of TSC. But this should be documented in the contributing file. To comply with this rule, I also put a contributing file in the TSC repo. You can see in the contributing file, we simply state that as a Linux Foundation project, Centaurus follows the open source guidelines from Linux Foundation. And TSC governs the project from technical perspective, with the initial TSC voting members nominated by the member organizations in the Centaurus community. So this is the first part I want to mention, the TSC members, voting members. The second part is the TSC responsibility. Actually, this is also a standard form. It's like a regular one, a regular list of responsibilities for a Linux Foundation project TSC. TSC is responsible for coordinating technical direction of the project, of course. And we are also responsible for approving, organizing, or removing all the subjects. So if there's a new sub-project want to join us as the TSC, we have the responsibility to review and decide to accept or not. We will have a vote to decide if we accept or not. And if we feel like a project is no longer appropriate operate, we will remove that project or archive that project. And we can also create subcommittees or working groups to working on different aspects. And we are also responsible for establishing some like technical practices or enforcing some rules across projects. I think these are all the normal responsibilities for a technical committee. The third part that I want to make sure we are all on the same page is about TSC voting. The first thing is that we are adopting a one vote per voting member basis. So every TSC member has one vote. And the second, the quorum for the TSC meeting is 50% of the voting members. So if we do not have 50% of members in a meeting, we can still meet, discuss things, but we cannot make any decision that requires voting. If we have a quorum of TSC members, our voting will be a simple majority rule unless something specifically specified. So I think this probably is the key part that we want to we want everybody on the same page. Is there any question regarding the voting part? Okay, if not, the last one is about the amendment. We can still modify this charter as needed, but all the changes need to be approved by 2/3 of the entire TSC, and it's also subject to the approval by the Linux Foundation. I think these are the actually the essential parts of the technical charter. Do you guys have any comments or questions regarding this technical charter?
It's good to me.
Okay, if not, Monique, can you help initialize a vote on Zoom? Because today we already have only Sanya not here, right? We have all the other TSC members, so we definitely hit a quorum of the TSC members. We will have a vote to decide if we accept this as the official technical charter or not. If we accepted this, then all the subsequent operations will follow this rule.
Yeah, approved.
I think Zoom has a functionality of the vote. Monique, can you help start the vote?
Yeah, give me a second.
The perils of technology to work and have to.
Yeah, I
to
did.
work on
Just
Zoom.
did that.
That worked.
So the next feature they're introducing is a handshake, so you could shake hands with somebody.
That's a good proposal.
My kids are much more proficient now with Zoom than I am. I'm spending this last 6 months in school.
Oh, the school thing, yeah.
I think we have all the votes.
Okay, great. So we have all the approval from TSC members, and I will publish this as our official technical charter of the project, and all the subsequent operations we will we will follow the rules of this technical charter. And this is also this is done for our agenda item, the first agenda item for today's meeting. And the next one I think is Annie's, right?
Yes.
Monique, can you help share the agenda item, or I can share?
Any material from your side to share? Any?
I don't have a material, so we discussed, inviting some of the industry leaders to kind of be our advisors. And basically, I talked to Linux Foundation, and they were saying, as long as the advisors don't have any voting right, and they are here just to help us, and we can just send them, meeting minutes or just redirect them to where we run meetings. And if we want them to come join our meeting sometime to just give a guidance, we can do that. In that case, then we don't have to build that into the bylaw or anything. It's more of a kind of organic thing. If we feel like there's some industry leader that that we would like to invite to be our advisors, we can do that. And obviously TSC should make a vote and to see which TSC's nominees we want to accept. So far, I have, Dr. Sean would like to, obviously Dr. Sean is one of the founders of this project, and we'd like to invite him to be the advisor. And so advisors, they don't have to come to meetings all the time, but they're there for us just to go and consult. And the other person I have approached is Chris Anachek, who is the who is the VP of Technology at Linux Foundation. Also, he also leads the TOC for CNCF, Chris Anachek. And he has also agreed. And in fact, Chris has been also guiding us throughout this Centaurus launch. So he's very familiar with our project. And also he's a industry expert in cloud native. And I think, and then also he works for Linux Foundation. So he can give us a lot of guidance. And so far he has accepted our invitation too. So I have two, candidates here. I'm just, I invited them, but in the end of the day, TSC, this TSC body needs to approve the nominees. And I don't know if anybody else has invited any more potential advisors. I know Deepa, you were talking about inviting some.
Yeah, so I can definitely, but I think it'll be good for other members to bring in their, customers, or whatever thought leaders, they are aware of, it'd be great to have. But yeah, I did talk to Professor from Cornell, I think Professor Dustar, Professor Hakeem Weatherspoon. So he so he showed interest as well. He has his own startup. He has his own startup nowadays. He's doing some unikernel thing, some Mexican thing.
Right. That's
So
great.
yeah. So he's fit. But so I think, so we can get him on board as well. So that's a potential. But I think it'll be good to hear from you folks, Nikita, Sharam, Stefan, and Prashant and all that. If you guys can bring in some industry thought leaders, that'd be really great too. So.
Well, I think I'll invite Mr. Stephen from T Systems. He's a global CIO for the Deutsche Telekom. So I'll write him an email tonight to invite him and see if he want to participate into it.
Okay, that'll be great.
Yeah, that'd be really great.
Some industry leaders or larger customer representatives, I think that can, all of them can be the advisors. Yeah.
Actually, we are thinking of inviting like T Systems like Deutsche Telekom, Orange and Telefonica guys to this quorum because recently I just had a meeting and I don't want to take away all the current agenda plan. So I'm just holding on those thoughts. But we got quite a bit of requirement for edge computing optimization of Centaurus. So I'll share that update later on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, look forward to it.
Yep.
Yeah, Nikita, on your side as well, if you think, you can bring on, somebody from your GridGain customer ecosystem or whoever, wants to participate in that, that'll be great.
Yeah, it's on my mind.
Perfect. Yeah, so we can, so let's wait for the approval. So we have 3 candidates. So let's see. I mean, we don't want to have lots of candidates. So once we have a final list, then we can decide who do we want to include as part of the advisory board.
Okay.
Agree? Yeah.
Yeah. So Annie, Deepak, do you guys want TSC to decide today on the 2 candidates, or we want to wait the final?
What do you guys want to do? I mean, it's up to you, up to the.
I think we should. I mean, I think we should just vote on the ones that we have confirmed today, and then over time we'll have more advisors who want to that want to invite, and then whenever we have a new candidate, and we can just do a voting. But I think we should vote on what we have today. And also, at one point, we probably need to have a cap, a max, because if we have too many advisors.
Yes.
So Xiaoning, it's really up to you since you're the chair, but that's my recommendation.
I'm fine with that too. I think we can, for any new proposals, we can vote. We're gonna have to wait the finalist. So far we have 2 candidate proposals, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. So today we can decide if we accept these 2 candidates or not. And then in the future, if other members are bringing more nominations or proposals, we can vote on that.
Correct.
I like Dr. Xiang's name there. I'm very happy.
Thanks, Persia. I'm here just to help the whole community.
Absolutely. Great.
I think the only proposal mainly is because Centaurus, we don't have a board, the official board for the community, right? And so we invite the people to join the advisory group.
Absolutely.
Xiaoning, do you want me to launch the polling again?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we are done for the second agenda. Doxiong, do you want to say something as a new advisory board member?
No, I'm fine. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You don't have to.
Should we create one repo, the advisory board repo? Maybe, you know, if the advisors do presentations or those kind of things, we can have everything in there, separate repo underneath TSC.
Yeah, for now, we probably can put everything together. If there are more slides and feel like is there need to separate, I can create a separate one. But in the beginning, maybe we can put them all together to make things simplified.
Yeah, I think we can probably wait for next month to get all the board advisory members, and whoever they nominate or propose, then we have then we can maybe have a advisory meeting first, and to see how we help and support the Centaurus community.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We can have definitely host an advisory, like a roundtable and stuff like that on periodical basis, and then kind of give them our status and then invite them for input. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, the next agenda item is from Annie and report.
Okay. Yeah, so if I can share my screen here, let me share my screen. Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Centaurus Eco. So Rupa and I, we kind of had just a rough discussion on how we can grow the Centaurus ecosystem. And so, and also I have a brief chat with Dr. Shona about this. So it's a very new project. There's a lot we need to do, but we only have limited resources since it's a very new project. So building ecosystem is very important to help us grow the project. So we have to be strategic because obviously we're not CNCF, we're not OpenStack, right? The solution itself is still, I mean, so far we only have the networking, we have the compute. We still have to have built out a lot more, and we can't really position Centaurus as, you know, for anything, right? The generic platform, because we have to be strategic. So we think the best case to really grow the ecosystem is focus on use case, right? We don't want to build out everything from day one. Number one, we don't have enough resources. So number two, we kind of wanted to, in the end of the day, we want to build for our, you know, users, and we want to make sure that our technologies can be used in the production environment out there in the real world. So we think that it's important to be use case driven. So well, our initial positioning is Centaurus is a platform for, you know, it's kind of a next generation platform for 5G, for edge computing, AI enabled. So that's why it's a lot more scalable, a lot more performing. So so the kind of use case we think would really require this kind of platform is, we think number one is telco cloud, because telco has a lot direct relationship to 5G edge and, you know, and AI. And so we think we can focus on that. Rupa was saying, you know, she has some candidates, some telco users who are interested in this. And we, and also, sorry, my Outlook. And also, I think, you know, China Mobile, China Telecom, you know, Deutsche Telekom, Telefonica, Orange, and we all have existing relationships with them. So if you guys can think of any telco who would be interested in this, it would be great to invite them to be our, you know, prospective users, partners, and they can give us requirements. And I know a lot of users, they don't have development resources, but their knowledge, you know, the fact that their brand, their knowledge and requirements can be really helpful. So, and obviously, you know, ISVs, we need to invite other, you know, other prospective member companies to come join a project to help us build out the features to meet these requirements. And also, we think that, you know, by collaborating with other foundations such as, you know, CNCF, because the cloud native ecosystem is in CNCF today. I mean, primarily in CNCF. So if we have a partnership with them, then, you know, maybe we can recruit some of the CNCF members to come join us. So, and then I'm sure there are other foundations like Apache and even like IEEE on the standard side. I mean, there are all kinds of prospective partners that we should, you know, we can go and talk to. So here, I just want to give you a big overview on the events that's coming this year. On the Linux Foundation side, can you see well? I mean, if it's too small, I can just go through it one by one. So can you see well or no?
It's a little small, but now it blacks out. Okay, now to shoot up again.
It's still, let me just, okay, this is the biggest I could get to. So I went to Linux Foundation and asked for all the events for this year. As you can see, we're still in the middle of the COVID. Even US is getting vaccines, but the other side of the, you know, other countries are not getting vaccines as fast as US does. So our physical events are very limited. So for Q1 and Q2, Linux Foundation is focusing on virtual events. So the very next event that, I mean, there's a ton of events, but I'm only listing out the events that might be relevant to or interesting to Centaurus project. Number one is Open Networking and Edge Executive Forum happening in March 10 to 12. It's virtual. It's only $50. You guys can look for it. And then, you know, they're going to talk about, you know, networking and edge. So it's attend only because we have really not really prepared for this event, but it will be really good just to see the industry luminaries and, you know, what they talk about networking and edge in the cloud space. And so that's why I listed as attend only. The next event that we can really contribute and participate is KubeCon Europe. Unfortunately, it's still a virtual event because it's in May. It's May 4th through May 7th. But we do think that by the May timeframe, we should go out and talk about Centaurus again, because we launched Centaurus in December. And for 5 months, I think we should let the open source community know that what we have done for Centaurus. So we should definitely participate, and you know, we should submit talks and stuff. And also before that, the new Stack platform that FutureWay actually is a member of, so we can contribute a limited number of articles. I think we should have a kind of a Centaurus overview or some kind of next generation cloud kind of theme blog. And also we should have Arctos, Mitsar, and maybe Kube Edge, you know, that kind of papers, just kind of, you know, plant the seeds and also build enough material for us to present at the KubeCon Europe. And
hey Annie,
yeah.
one question for the new Stack. Do they only accept the articles from FutureWay or from any member?
No, no, it's okay. We can position, because we have a membership. So anybody, you know, in the Centaurus project team, if you want to submit anything, we can help. I mean, definitely you can submit through FutureWay. I mean, you know, you can always have a FutureWay employee, or I can talk to the new Stack. I mean, obviously they don't want us to abuse that membership, but we can, you know, make it, you know, like a FutureWay partnered paper.
I see. So it doesn't have to be from FutureWay. It can from any like Centaurus community.
Yeah, let's talk about, you know, we can, like I said, probably it's best to position as a FutureWay partnered paper. In other words, we're still part of it, But, like, for example, if a professor from a university wants to publish a paper, and then maybe we can have a future way employee working with the professor, and then, and then publish the paper that way. But then, again, our goal of participating in NewStack is not to promote future way, but it's to promote our project. The projects that we're interested. So we should always lead with Centaurus. So any of you guys want to publish papers, we'll be happy to help you get your papers published on the NewStack. And for those of you who are not familiar with NewStack is CNCF's publishing arm. So third-party publishing arm. So if you go to NewStack, you'll see a ton of cloud native blogs, articles published there. And also Linux Foundation is also NewStack partner, as well as CNCF. And so, okay, so the first milestone I suggest is KubeCon Europe. And then the next milestone, that's when all the physical conferences are starting to happen. Linux Foundation is thinking probably starting in August. Like August, the first event is OSS US. So Linux Foundation, they do 3 OSS, which is Open Source Summit events every year, 1 in US, 1 in Europe, 1 in China. And so these are the conferences where, they cover all the open source topics. So for cloud native, there's a KubeCon, right? Every year there are 3 cloud natives. One is, KubeCon Europe, KubeCon US, North America, and KubeCon China. And then also OSS, there's 3 OSS events, like I mentioned. And so I think because Centaurus is an open source project, it's not really, CNC a project. So I think it's probably more important for us to participate in OSS. And it's important for us to participate in KubeCon, but I think from a sponsorship perspective, it's more important for us to, to have bigger presence in OSS. So, so the first event, physical event, would be OSS US, which is going to be held in Vancouver, August 3rd to August 6th. And then the second one is OSS Europe, September 28th through October 1st in Dublin, Ireland. And so, and then the third event is Open Network and Edge. So on the networking and Edge side, they have, every year they also have 2 events. One is in US, one is in Europe. And so for the US one, they're coming up with the Open Network and Edge in October 10th through 12th in LA. And then back to back, there's a KubeCon US October 12th to October 15th at the same venue, LA. So these are the 4 physical events. I think that's when we can really go out and then kind of do a relaunch, like a hard launch. So by that time, hopefully by August, we'll have some solid use cases. We'll have a lot more compelling, messages, and then a lot bigger ecosystem. I think that would be a good opportunity for us to do a relaunch, right? Because last year when we launched, it was more of a soft launch. We just have Linux Foundation just sent a press release. We didn't, contact any other media, and we didn't really go out in a big way. Our goal was just to get the project donated to Linux Foundation first. But for this August launch, I think we can really go out and do a bigger way, like, have a lot more blogs, a lot more media, and then have a lot bigger ecosystem. And then especially we need to have more solid use cases. So I would look at August timeframe will be our milestone number 2. And then again, before August, we should prepare a lot of material, such as use cases and a lot more blogs, and then also apply for sponsorship and speaking opportunities for these 4 events. And then
one more thing. Sorry to disturb in between. Yeah, one more suggestion I would like to make, that we were planning to have a hackathon
yes.
on Centaurus code base. So if we can build something in between from April to June timeframe, where the community is there, we can invite like several universities and a lot of students to participate into that. So maybe if you guys consider that, then I can work on a plan with you and Rupal to put together a hackathon in April to June timeframe.
Awesome, that's really great. A good idea. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, and then, and also, these are the bigger events that we want to be speaking and stuff. But I think before before August, we should definitely have some kind of meetups and stuff, smaller regional. In fact, that's what, yeah, exactly. That's what Rupa and I, we talked about. So we can have, you know, regional like meetups. So that's another thing. Okay, I forgot to add this one, like regional focus events, right? Like a meetup, hackathons, right? So right now we can, you know, we know we have presence in US, Europe, China, India, right? So yeah, we can do these regional focused events like meetups to help us, you know, recruit developers and users.
Yeah, before we attend the event, if we have a strong community of developer, that will help to generate more use cases and more success scenarios.
Perfect. So yeah, so we can later we can come up with more, you know, detailed plan for those regional events. That's excellent suggestion. Thank you. Okay, so and then so the third milestone I think is there's a KubeCon China. It's early December, but they don't have a specific date yet. And I think because you know, I'm thinking if we can get the, you know, like the telecoms in China and India, and you know, because if we can have momentum there, then we can definitely leverage KubeCon China to do an event there. And again, this will be our third opportunity to refresh our collateral, our, you know, materials, and then maybe get additional use cases, and then translate the material to Chinese. So so that's that. So we have you know, US and European focus during milestone 2. We have an Asia focus in milestone 3. And then milestone 1 is like, you know, kind of warm up for us. And then we can show some of our stuff in KubeCon Europe virtual event. And as far as sponsorship, you know, we're going to try to get some of our marketing dollars, but if any of you guys want to contribute, you're definitely most welcome to contribute, but it's not mandatory. Okay, so that's the preliminary ecosystem building plan Rupan and I, we talked about.
Annie, just one
Sure.
input. The one that we discussed about having a lead from each of the regions,
Right.
like from India, China, and US, that will help us to like give targets.
Yeah. Yeah, like yeah, like we can have an ambassador, right?
Yeah,
Call it ambassador.
like
each
OC
region.
ambassador or OC
Yeah.
lead. Some.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, that would be actually a good. So that would be our next thing is to, for each region, we can ask for volunteer to lead that the events in that region.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you for, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we did talk about that. And do we have a volunteer here? I mean, for anybody or you know, or maybe later offline, if you would like to volunteer, or you know somebody in your region like Europe, you know, Asia and US.
Sure.
We don't need ambassador, but yeah.
Even the current partner companies who are present in TOC can recommend someone from their team, and accordingly we can like divide them based on the regions.
Yeah. Regional events. Perfect. Yeah, I think that's how other, you know, like CNCF, that's how they did it. That's how they grow their regions, is to have a, you know, regional ambassadors.
Yeah.
Great. I think we need to give them a title, because a lot of times we can, you know, some people want to make sure they can put that on their resume and stuff. Having a title really can help them with, you know, with their own career building in open source. So, okay, great. So anything else I missed, Rupa?
No, I think you almost cover everything, Annie.
Okay, great. So so does this plan look good? I mean, this is just our initial plan. I don't think we need a, you know, voting approval or anything like that, right? I mean, this is just you know, if so for future ecosystem building, because we are in 3 regions and it's really hard to get everybody together. So I propose I actually send it to the Slack, through the Slack, that I propose that we just tag the ecosystem building, you know, topic at the end of a TSC, because we want all of you guys to be involved, and then we also, and it'll save us one more meeting if we just combine the ecosystem building into the TSC meeting.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't know what other TSC members think.
I think that's a great proposal. Yeah, I agree.
Perfect. Okay.
Agree here. Looks good.
Same here.
Okay. And I can post this on our GitHub, so we'll have a record of this.
Yeah, and for the ambassador nomination, if any volunteer here, we can put a name here. If not, I think we can put on the documents, so anybody else, anybody can put their nomination or volunteer names later, right, in the document.
Yep. And then also, if any of you guys have a new use case that you think, when we say use cases, the most important thing is you should have a user, right, who is from that industry. They really know what they want, so they can give us requirements. So if you have a use case, make sure that we bring that to the TSC, and then we can the TSC body can discuss whether that's a achievable use case. If it is achievable use case, then then we can put it in on a roadmap. So I know Rupa has something in mind already. I don't know if, Rupa, if you want to talk about it now or maybe later. It's up to you if you are ready.
I think probably we can discuss that specifically in next meeting, so we can come up with the document along with the use cases.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was wondering, do we intend to have a well-structured use case description so that we can have multiple use cases which have the same parameters, so that we can kind of multiply the differences, etc., so that people can immediately see what's happening? Or are they kind of free form type?
This is my suggestion. I'm looking at LFH project and the Acrano project. How they do it is, what they do is they have they present a blueprint, right? So if I have a use case, and then this is what the requirements from the user, and I present a blueprint, and this is the high level thinking of what this use case is like, and maybe with some architecture. And then, the TSC body can review, and if that makes sense, and accept that as the, achievable or, reasonable use case. And then we can build feature functionality based on that.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea to have such a blueprint, a template where we can build on top of it. Yeah.
Yeah, one more thing, I would suggest that if we can, along with the TSC, if we have some kind of an architectural review meeting, because one of our customer has recently came and asked us if we can transform Centaurus into a cell site, a far site kind of edge computing model, and in the real-time scenario. So they have asked about 27 different questions that how we can address that. So if we have some way where it could be very technical, specific group, which can discuss the architecture of the projects, once the use has been submitted, somebody needs to work on the architectural planning if we decide to work on it. So Dr. Shong or any update on that? I mean, on that side.
You mean the technical architecture?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I don't know if we had a chance that on Centaurus website, we had some resource about the technical architecture, white paper, and frequently asked questions. Maybe I can, after I need done, I can quickly share that. I mean,
sure.
There are some resources there, and we definitely can have more in-depth discussing or review on the architecture.
No, what I want to say is we, as for the use case, the other members suggesting that we should have a template. What I was suggesting is having an architectural group which can guide the rest of the development community that how the architecture should look like.
Oh, yeah.
More like an architecture committee or something like that, which is very technically focused. Because TSC members, we are there, but the architectural committee may need SMEs who are expert in particular area like edge computing or any other sort of cloud computing like 5G computing, those kind of areas.
Oh, yeah. Actually, we are organizing several SIGs, special interest groups. Each SIG focus on one area.
Yep.
And
no problem.
They are very technical. They are almost 100% technical oriented. And we
Great.
plan to have a rotated like a SIG review on this TSC meeting. So
Sure.
TSC on the high level can help guide the architecture design and have an overview on that.
No problem. What I will do is I'll share the use case requirement from our customer with rest of the team members, and we will open it for the suggestion that it could be one of the use case to start with. And if others have another suggestion on that one, we can circle back on email.
Okay, great.
I would suggest, I mean, since we're small and then you want to do things in a more organized way. So for example, if somebody bring in, you know, a use case, right? Telco cloud use case. So this person can bring in a telco cloud use case with a blueprint and requirements and maybe some high level architecture and bring it to this body, right? TSC for approval. And TSC, once TSC approves that, then maybe we can create a SIG for that use case. So we can have a telco cloud SIG, maybe later AI SIG, maybe something SIG. So that in that SIG, then you can talk about more technical detail, like as for architecture and all that. What do you think?
I agree to that, Annie. Good idea.
Yeah, in principle, I think this is good. On the other hand, I think we might miss then these cross issues, which I think are also very relevant in this case. So yeah. I would be afraid a little bit that it becomes too kind of vertical, and we might want to stress a little bit more the kind of ecosystem perspective, that is more like an infrastructure for everything, but it has different flavors, you know. I'm not so sure. Maybe we can kind of make that decision a little bit later when we have more use cases and more kind of blueprints and requirements, so that.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, Professor Justa. Yeah, I think they all use cases that actually cross, and we're still small, so I think if we form too many SIG or too, that actually is probably not good at the beginning. So I would suggest too that everything will bring back to the TSC, and TSC can discuss and then have a more use case, and then if there you are really use case and real scenarios, and then we have, you know, we grow, and then we can think about a SIG specifically for vertical.
Yeah. Yes. Agree.
Yes, I agree.
Since we are still a small community, I also totally agree. Makes our process lightweight and the organization as efficient as possible.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just one other thing I wanted to kind of bring it up. I know I've had discussions with Nikita and other people, but I just wanted to bring it up. Maybe we can officially discuss that or vote on it next time around. But I wanted to at least bring it up this time. So one of the projects which we are doing, a collaboration we are doing actually with the GridGain and Ignite community. So one of the problem statement in Kubernetes is, you know, the underlying etcd thing, you know, the data store. So that's very problematic, you know, when you want to scale, you know, Kubernetes to higher number of nodes in a cluster. So one of the things which we are exploring is Ignite, which is an in-memory data store and is partitioned. So, and we've seen pretty good, actually, very promising numbers. And so one of the things we are thinking of is potentially include that as a project. One of the reasons being, so Ignite can scale because it's partitioned as opposed to etcd. But then we still have problems at the native Kubernetes level. There are issues with the API server. So that's one of the things which we have done in as part of Centaurus. We kind of partition the API servers as well. So I think this would be a really good opportunity to showcase, you know, the scalability of Centaurus to kind of by demonstrating the Ignite as the underlying data store, actually. So that's one of the projects which I would like to kind of explore, and then we can discuss and then officially vote on it, you know, next time around we can do that. That's one of the things I wanted to kind of bring it up. Any comments, thoughts?
I think that's a good idea, Deepak. I would like to understand a little bit more about that, because in this time we are also thinking we have the use case in a similar space. So I would love to see more.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the value proposition of Centaurus being very scalable. See, so right now Kubernetes doesn't go beyond 5,000 nodes. But if you have like a big deployment, you can't do that. You need to have multiple clusters. So that's one of the problem statement. And then we started kind of looking at it. And we have already done a lot of it. I think Nikita can talk more about that as well. But I think so that's one of the thing we can explore more as part of Centaurus project. Actually, it doesn't even make sense to explore more in the Kubernetes community because Kubernetes itself, architecture itself has a problem, basically. See, they have only one partition of API server, but in Centaurus, we have solved that problem actually. So by having multiple API servers to go along with a partition underlying data store, it allows you to go 50,000, 100,000 nodes actually in a cluster.
Yeah. Yeah, Deepak, maybe you can prepare some material and add that into the agenda list.
Next time I will do that, yeah.
Yeah, I also think, Deepak, this is really good idea with basically, offering a scalable solution to etcd essentially, and be it Ignite or anything else. What crossed my mind is that I think we should, this is a more general now comment, we should be able to have this kind of focused technical discussions a little bit more. Maybe maybe that would be kind of, I was looking at the SIGs and there are some which are very interesting for me, but I kind of didn't see something like, something which would essentially host like these general discussions such as this one. And I think that would be very nice to see also.
Yeah,
great.
Okay, that's all I have for my agenda item, for our agenda ecosystem.
So I think, but one other thing I want to mention, so just like I proposed the project, I think feel free to kind of propose, you folks feel free to propose as well. So basically, then it'd be good to have, I know, the rest of the community doing project, because, as you can see, we've been doing a lot of work, the current release and the previous release as well, and we're going to keep on doing that. But I think it'll be really great to have community involvement, to take on such projects. So I know Prashad mentioned he has something in mind for Edge. So those kind of things.
Yeah, I'll share all the details on email, maybe in a day or two, because we got all the requirements from the customers, and we thought like the current level of scale the Centaurus is able to provide, the exact feature that you talked, Deepak, about like scaling on multiple API level. It could be a groundbreaking technology, right? I mean, because many of the telecom looking from the edge computing, the small cell sites all over the place, and data near that, and having the AI touch to it. So definitely I'll share all the information, and I look forward that you guys can make some feedback. If you know something information already in that space, then you can just add your comment. That would be super helpful for us and community both.
Sure.
Yeah, and also for Professor and Stefan, maybe some of our collaborating project, some parts we can also bring to the context of Centaurus, right? TSC meeting, so we can involve more people, more technical inputs.
Absolutely, yes.
I know Professor Dustar has a lot of background in edge computing, and Sanil couldn't join today's meeting. Actually, he was one of the founding member of Cube Edge project as well, so he has a lot of perspective on edge cloud standpoint as well. So it'll be more, good to have more discussion or maybe potential projects to kind of evolve Centaurus towards that, basically.
Exactly.
Okay, Annie, if we are done, can I share a couple of minutes?
Sure, yeah, we can take it all back.
Yeah, I think we have finished most of the agenda items today. The only remaining one is from Sanil, but Sanil has some network issue. He couldn't join today. I will ping him, and maybe he want to leave that item for the next meeting.
Or maybe he can initiate email discussion.
Yeah. Before we finish meeting, just one small thing I want to remind that please bookmark this repo because this contains links to everything else. And if you have any agenda items want to discuss for the TSC meeting, just add into this document. We are using one document to track all the agenda items and the meeting minutes. So just add your proposed topic and your name into the list before the meeting. And on the TSC meeting, we will follow the order to discuss agenda topics one by one. So these are the items added before today's meeting. And we will have another one for the next month's meeting. And then you just add your item into that if you want to discuss. Okay, that's all. Anything else we want to discuss before we finish the meeting? If not, thank you everyone for your time.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye,
We will
everybody.
see you next
Bye.
month.
Talk to you later.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.